Greetings friends and fellow cigar box guitar enthusiasts. Del Puckett here. And a couple of years back, I did a video called The Coolest Cigar Box Guitar Yet. In fact, I'll put the link up here. And that guitar was built using a railroad tie for the neck. And it was through the process of me setting up that guitar that I discovered just intonation. And how I did that was I had found the harmonics on the string, and that's where I put the position markers. And it sounded so good that I thought, what would happen if I moved the frets on my fretted instruments and I put those frets in alignment with the harmonics, and what would happen? And it was through the process that I discovered just intonation. Well, anyhow, so this guitar here is modeled after the coolest cigar box guitar yet. So this could be called the coolest cigar box 2.0. This one has also been made with a railroad tie, and I'll zoom in here close so you can see. The surface there has been untouched, so it's still got the original grease and creosote and tar and dirt, and smells like a railroad track. So this is a one-piece body railroad tie, and it's been carved to look like a scarf. I do have a big old bolt there for the nut, and of course there's a modern Avo box on this side here. I do have a very hot single coil pickup here and an embedded piezo under the saddle with a three-way that gets to both of them. I do have a spring on the inside. You can see it right there, to kind of create that natural reverb. And that's especially noticeable when it's on the piezo. So anyhow, I did want you to hear this thing first before I got it all set up. And right now the strings are still stretching. And it's set up for a 23-inch scale, so it's 23 inches from the nut all the way to the saddle. And I did do the tilt on here to kind of mimic the way it would set up for a fretted system here. And now that the strings are stretching, I'm going to find the harmonics. And I'm going to put the position markers up there, and then once I'm confident that the marks are in the right spot, then I'll put in the permanent screws and stuff like that. But I want you to hear it first, unplugged. So let me put the markers on. There's many ways that you can find the harmonics. I prefer just using my ear. But basically what you're going to do is we're going to find the halfway point between the saddle and the nut. And it's going to be the exact middle of the string. So if you lightly put your finger, don't push down, but just barely lightly touch it. You can use a tuner if you like, but that's where the harmonic exists. That's the first harmonic. Now what I do is I get a pencil, not a pen, but a pencil, and I lightly mark the top here with the pencil, right where that harmonic is. Now you can take this distance, and if you get a measuring tape or a ruler or whatever like that, and you can divide this in half, and you can find the next harm. I just use my ear. Right there. And you can divide this one in half. So again, once you get down here, it's more just like a visual thing. You can just like divide it in half. But that's the dividing in half. But now we're going to divide it in thirds. This would be where the 7th fret would be. So now I've got 3 marks here. I've got the octave, I've got the 7th fret, which is a divide by 3, and the 4th fret, which is a divide by 4. So that's the basics on how you set this thing up. So now I'm going to play, and I'm just going to go by these dots. So I'm going to do that all the way up and down and get this thing dialed in. In case you're wondering, I'm tuned E, B, E, and these are the 44 gauge, the 34 gauge, and the 26 gauge. And for this example here, I'm going to be using this spark plug socket. We are plugged into the Mini VOX. And I got a little medium gain going on here. I prefer the middle position here, which is a combination between the piezo and the single coil. Right in the middle, get the best of both worlds. So I have the action set up pretty high, not really high, but just normal high, so that I can like really dig in and get heavy-handed over here. With especially with a heavy slide, I still grab it with my other finger. That way I can like really push down. Wow, what an awesome sound. Another option you have is to go down to the big box store and get yourself one of these PVC pipe connector thingies. They work great. I had a friend of mine make me one of these bone antler slides. These things work great too. The nice thing about this is it's nice and lightweight. You might have also seen these little copper connectors. Whatever it takes, right? Ready for a dad joke? All right, so what's the opposite of a goodery? A battery. So what I do with the battery is I kind of pinch it between my ring finger and my index finger, and I use my middle finger to kind of push it down. That's just how I do it, because I'm a redneck. So the same thing can be done with a pocket knife. Hey, it looks like I'm flipping you off, but I'm not. I have this old box, cigar box, full of just glass slides, and one of these days I'm gonna cut this guy in half. It's a huge, heavy piece of metal. But bottleneck tops actually work really good. Wine bottle tops. You have the different tapers on the different necks, or you know, look, oh, these are awesome, really cool. I find these at like garage sales or antique shops. These are the old medicine bottles, and they work really good too for slides. But I actually just cut the tops off of wine bottles, and they work really good. Because you can actually cut them to be any length you want. And these shorter ones here work really good for the narrower. So I went through and systematically marked with a pencil all of the notes according to the harmonics. And then I verified it over and over and over again. So now that I've verified it, now I'm going to put the permanent markers on here. Now keep in mind that these marks are all based on the position of this thing. All right, so I recommend getting a Sharpie, or I don't recommend gluing it down, but I do recommend marking this thing here so that you can put it in the exact right spot. Because if this thing moves, then all of your marks are going to be readjusted. So make sure that this thing here gets marked. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. This one here I am going to do with a permanent. This is a Sharpie. And I'm just going around the edges of this thing here and kind of creating a little footprint. So that if it ever gets moved or bumped, or if you take the strings off and this thing here launches off, then you'll know exactly how to get it exactly right back in the exact right same spot. Very important. Now that I've got the final position markers in place, well, I hope you enjoyed this, the coolest cigar box guitar yet, 2.0. If you like these videos, be sure to subscribe. Otherwise, be sure to like, comment, share. And if you're interested in me building you a 3-string cigar box guitar, be sure to email me. And until then, I will see you in the next video.